you're going to hear a story about a beautiful young lady named Esther who had great courage.
Every March, all around the world, Jews celebrate Purim, a holiday to remind them of a time when the Jewish people living in Persia were saved from being killed. They fast, have a feast, and retell the story of how they were saved. As we tell the story today, do what the Jews do and boo, hiss, or stamp your feet whenever you hear the name Haman, and then cheer whenever you hear the names Esther or Mordecai.
Long ago, Jerusalem was invaded. The city was destroyed and many Jews were carried away as slaves into Persia. After many years, some of the Jews were allowed to go back, but some stayed in Persia even though they weren't treated well.
One of these Jews, still in Persia, was a young girl named Esther. She was an orphan and was raised by her uncle Mordecai, who loved her like his own daughter.
The king of Persia was named King Ahasuerus. One time, he held a great feast. He called for his wife to come to the feast, but she did not want to come. This made the king angry, and he sent her away and decided to find a new, more obedient queen.
The king desires a new queen. All beautiful young women are to be brought to the palace. The beautiful girls that please the queen will become the new queen.
Finally, all the girls gather into the palace and are dressed for the king. The girls are all presented to the king. After looking all over the maidens, the king makes his choice.
This is an easy choice. I choose this one. What is your name?
My name is Esther.
Later that evening, Esther meets with her uncle Mordecai.
Yes, my child, Esther, you have been chosen, but don't forget that you are a Jew. Many people in this country hate the Jews. You must keep it a secret.
Do not worry, I will not tell anyone, not even the king.
Esther becomes the queen and lives in the palace. She is a kind, good person. Later, her uncle comes to warn her of something.
Esther, I overheard two of the king's guards talking. They were plotting to kill the king. You must go get the word to the king.
Do not worry, I will tell the king. Esther? Hey! Tells the king of the plot, and this saves his life. The king is grateful to Mordecai. And to Esther. The king promotes a man named Haman to be above all the princesses in his court.
My name is Haman. I am a great person in the palace, and therefore all the servants must bow down to me.
I will not bow down to you. I know how much you hate the Jews. You are cruel to my people.
You must bow down to me.
I will not bow down to you.
Haman is so mad that Mordecai won't bow down to him. So he decides to punish all of the Jews. He thinks of a plan and goes to the king.
My king, I have found that some of the people in your kingdom do not like to follow the king's laws. If it pleases the king, I will write a decree that they should all be destroyed, both young and old, the women and children, and all in one day. And if you let me do this, I will pay the large amount of silver in your king's treasures.
Everyone should obey the laws. Do what you think is right.
Haman writes a decree to everyone that on a certain day all the Jews would be put to death.
Esther, only you can help us. Haman is going to kill all of our people. You must go tell the king.
I want to help, but I do not dare present myself to the king. If I go to see him without him calling for me, I can get killed.
But you must. Maybe this is why you are the queen this time, to save our people. You are our only hope.
Okay, I will. If I perish, I perish. Please have everyone pray and fast for me for 3 days. I need Heavenly Father's help. With everyone's prayers and Heavenly Father's help, I can do this.
After 3 days of fasting and prayer, Esther puts on her finest clothes and enters the king's court. If he is pleased to see her, he would raise his golden scepter and she would not be killed. She stands in front of King Ahasuerus and waits. She hardly dares to breathe when the king looks up. He sees her and holds out his scepter to her, allowing her to come to him.
Ah, Esther, I'm so glad to see you. I will give you whatever you want, even if it is half the kingdom.
Let the king and Haman come to the banquet that I have prepared. Then I will tell you what to do.
Haman was thrilled to be invited to eat with Esther and the king.
Servants, what do you mean, who? I have been invited to king and the queen to dine with them. But Mordecai still refuses to bow down to me. I will not have it. I order you. He must show respect. I order you to build the gallows to hang Mordecai from.
The servants get busy building the gallows, and the king goes to bed for the night. The king cannot sleep. He remembers that Mordecai saved his life.
Royal messenger! I recall a man named Mordecai that saved my life. Was he ever rewarded for this?
No, nothing was done for him.
At that moment, Haman enters the court, hoping to speak to the king about hanging Mordecai
Come on!
from the newly built gallows.
Come on. What should be done for a man that makes the king happy?
Haman smiles because he thinks the king is talking about him.
Well, I think that Persian should be dressed in a royal clothing, and crown should be put upon his head. And the king's court should carry him around throughout the city with somebody shouting to all the people how much the king wants to honor him.
Great idea! Quickly, come on, go get the Jew Mordecai and do all of this for him.
Haman was shocked. There was nothing to do but obey. Instead of hanging Mordecai, Haman had to lead him around the king's horse dressed in royal clothing and shout out wonderful things about him. After the score around, Haman was very upset. He hurried and dressed for the banquet. They all sit down at the banquet.
Esther, this food is wonderful, but you still haven't told me what you request.
If it pleases the king, please spare my life and those of my people, for I am a Jew and we're about to be killed.
I don't understand. Who wants to kill you or your people?
The person is Haman. The decree he had to sign will allow all the Jews and myself to be killed. I know a king's decree cannot be changed, but could you please allow the Jews to defend themselves on that horrible day they are to be slaughtered?
What? Haman! You tricked your king! Servants, take him away! Mordecai, I hereby allow all the Jews to arm themselves and fight against any who try to harm them.
The king was very angry at Haman, and he ended up suffering death on the very gallows he built for Mordecai.
Because of the